Still really like this music. Oh, that's banana-y. Milkshake time. It's time for milkshake. It's been a while. It's been, what, 2 weeks? And it's been a month since the last Splat chat. Maybe even more. I feel like I did one... Yeah, no, it's been about a little more than a month. I still like having these at the beginning of the months, but since I have no choice... Let's pick a team. So, now, my inclination is to go with the Octopus. But, I know how these Splatfest works. I know how these things play out. Octoling is going to get the popular vote by 70%, mark my words. Over 70. And then Squid is going to get the battle victories just because they have less players, they have less fighting against themselves, and because they have less players, it's more of them, the amount of good to bad players is fast. They have far more good players than they do bad players. Thomas? Are you okay, Thomas? I heard you coughing. Oh, who's a good girl? You are. Alright, back on point. So, I'm going with Team Squid because they're going to get the battle victory. I can guarantee it. And they're going to win the Splatfest because of it. That's just my guess. I know how this stuff works at this point. This is a cool idea for a Splatfest. I will admit that. Because the gimmick is, depending on which team you pick, is if you're a Squid or an Octoling. At least, I think that's how it's supposed to be. It's interesting nevertheless. Oh, and look at the... That's not a... That... It looks very different than the typical Splatfest shirt. Maybe because it's white? That's... Okay, that's interesting. At least that... Because that's how I thought they were doing. Because there have been a lot of jokes about how this Splatfest is starting a race war. Which... I mean, it's kind of true. The other special thing about the Splatfest... Yeah, because look, black and white. That's kind of neat. The other special thing is that it's 1 year. Splatoon released 1 year ago today, and that's really cool. A year of Splatoon, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I know people who have put hundreds, 1,000 hours into this game. I've barely put 100. But yeah, as always. Neo Splashmatic, my only weapon during the Splatfest. Yep, well, let's go in. Let's find a match. Shouldn't be that hard to find one, hopefully. And as always, this is Splat and Chat, so we will be chatting about things in the gaming industry from the past month. Usually... Oh. It didn't look like my cherry had a skin, but it did. Oh. Oh. Yeah. So, we'll be talking about gaming stuff from the month. Oh, hey, confetti! Oh, that's a really cool thing for the Splatfest. Ah. Because, yeah, it's Splatoon's anniversary, of course. I actually really like that. It's such a small thing, but that's really cool. I mean, it's practically gone away, but yeah. Oh, did they change something with the ink tank? I know there was an update recently, like last Friday, was it? And I feel like they made some changes but I don't honestly know what they are, but I feel like there was a change to the ink tank, or like there's a second version that's like bigger. I don't know. It's really interesting either way. But yeah, we'll play one game and then we'll get into splatting and chatting. I have a list of topics, like always. It has been a while. It's always... I rarely do play this game outside of these Splat chats. I feel like I did boot it up at some point to do something, but I don't remember what. Oh yeah, and there's also... We'll get to that in like an hour or so. Okay, I'll just take care of you. Ah, shoot. That is so thick. Okay. Oh yeah, that started tonight. Nice, nice. Good way to start a Splatfest. Oh yeah, and they're also... I should try out some of those new weapons, because I bought them both, but I haven't used them. Maybe we will. Maybe I'll do that a little later. Oh yeah, let's continue on. So, Splat and Chat, let's... some of these topics are about a month old, but... what you gonna do? It's not that big of a deal. I wanna talk about... Let's start off with the online. I feel like that's a good place to start. So Nintendo Switches Online comes out in about a month. Or, well, 2 months actually. It comes out in September. And there was a thing where they were talking about the Virtual Console moniker. We've heard this before, but I think they reiterated this recently. About how, this online is the successor to the Virtual Console. Right, the online successor, which... I don't, depending on how they do this, I don't think this is a bad idea. The idea of the Virtual Console being an online service, many people, myself included, have said a Netflix-style service would be perfect. Right, where you pay a monthly subscription fee, $10 a month, maybe cheaper, depending on what's there, it would determine the price. But you get access to all of the Netflix Virtual Console games. I think that could really work. I guess down the middle is the best place to put it. I really do think that's Nintendo's best idea for the idea is get rid of the Virtual Console moniker. And they have a new moniker they can use that I think everyone would be down for. The moniker would be the Classic Edition. It's, we have the Classic Editions. It's NES Classic Editions, and SNES, and 64. And we'll be talking about Classic Editions later tonight, as that's kind of my big piece of the night, is talking about potential classic editions, or at least one of them. But I do think if they had, oh, our Netflix, it's classic editions, and they start off with the lineups of the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, and then they expand on them. Give us the games people want. I think that would make everyone... Again, people would still want to buy these games. Don't get me wrong. The idea of actually owning it is much more enticing. Plus, you know... Oh, because much like Netflix loses shows all the time. Hulu, I guess Hulu... I don't have Hulu. I'll fully admit that. I'm a Netflix, HBO Go kind of guy. But... and I hear a lot of divisive things about Hulu at the end of the day. But if people are worried that, oh, they're going to lose the games, and if you have the subscription service, maybe you get a discount, and they need to fix the virtual console pricing. I've talked about this before. Nintendo holds their brand in too high of a regard. They need to make their stuff cheaper, or... Because an NES game is not worth... What were they... I think they were charging $3? Nobody's going to buy Balloon Fight for $3. Nobody's going to buy the original Mario for $3. Or, God, were they even... I feel like they were even charging upwards of $5 at one point. Nobody's going to do that. It's not worth it. No. 99 cents is what you can get away with. That's, I think, most people's maximum. And for some games like Balloon Fight or Fight... It's not called Fight Club. Urban Champion. And a bunch of other crap. They're not even going to pay 99 cents. It's not worth it. Nintendo holds their brand in too high of a regard. Especially because they can emulate it all for free. I know people... Emulation bad. I get it. Whatever. But Nintendo's not doing themselves a favor. I always think of the Jim Sterling one where he's just saying, oh, you should pirate Nintendo's games because they're going to be such dickheads about the classic editions. Which, again, we'll get to. But I'm worried Nintendo's virtual... Yeah, a successor can work. It just depends on how they do it. They can do it right. And if Microsoft's Game Pass, boom, there's your model. So I know Sony had something like that at some point. No, nobody talks about it, so I don't know if it's actually any good. This is what... Okay, that's all I have to say. I do think Nintendo will screw it up because they're Nintendo, but hopefully they do take feedback. I know Nintendo of Japan doesn't like to take America's feedback. I mean, God, we'll get to Ridley. But yeah, it could work, they could screw it up, only time will tell. They open the gates. Okay, this stage... So, I guess since we're seeing the shifty stations, we should talk about it. I'm really curious. They opened gate 2. So it seems to have a shifting center gate mechanic that somehow has to do with these gates? I don't fully understand it, but okay, this could be interesting. We opened gate 2, okay. Oh, shit! Is that how that works? Oh, crap! That's really... So there are tentacles you have to burst, kind of like the training bags, and that affects gates that open. Oh, and there's fireworks in the background! Ah, that's actually really cool. This is an interesting gimmick for a stage. Will it live up to it? Because that's the thing. Shifty stations can have an interesting gimmick, but they can also have a lot of hit and miss. I've noticed that in the past. There are a lot of shifty stations that are not good. I'll just say it. Okay, so I can't splat up there, or I can't ink up there. I like that, and yeah, once you lower all, I'd expect the gates to go up at some point, but it doesn't seem like they do. Okay, that's kind of neat. I should have. We are dominating. Oh, this is not pretty for them. Yeah, no, this isn't pretty. Somehow, they never even opened our gate 3. They never even got this far. Holy shit. I have no idea how you open some of the gates. Like, I'll admit, that does elude... Some of these gates do elude me. I'll have to play around with the level more. Yeah, no, we destroyed. There's nothing they can do to take us back. We've got way too much of their area. That's an interesting... I have to explore the level more. I went on the left side. I'll have to go through the middle next time. But I do feel like the Shifty Station has potential. I hope they make these all available at some point. Because I'd really love to explore them. Okay, let's see. Next up... let's get some of the older news out of the way. Sure, why not? 3DS. So, there's a new... Nintendo got a new president. Because Kimishima... I don't remember his name. I talked about him previously. Kimishima was only a temporary president. Between the late Iwata's passing and this new guy, who they were training... While Kimishima was in charge, they were training him to be the next president. And now Kimishima has officially stepped down, and now he's the new president. Let's see, did I write his name down at any point? I feel like this happened a while ago. No, I didn't. It happened back in June, but I didn't write his name down. But he said in an investors meeting, or at some point... I've never seen that black hat before. That's... okay. That Nintendo is considering a successor to the 3DS. They already have one, it's called the Switch. They don't need a 3DS successor. The 3DS lived its life cycle much like Sony. I think I talked about this in the E3 video, one of the E3 Splat chats. That Sony is hesitant to leave this console generation. Because last time they left a console generation, PS2, last time they left as leader, PS2, it didn't end well for them. The PS3 did horribly. You remember, Sony, the executive saying, if you can't afford a PS3, get a second job. We all remember how much Sony fucked it up. It happens. Anytime a console generation shifts, with one exception, that being the PS2, there's always a new leader. Right? From when NES went to SNES, it went from NES to Genesis, Genesis to PlayStation, PlayStation to PlayStation 2. That's the one exception. PlayStation 2 to Wii, and then Wii to PS4. So Sony obviously wants to avoid that. I don't blame them, but it's going to happen. And now Nintendo, because the 3DS dominates the handheld market, right? Its only competition was the Vita, which Sony didn't support. And now their competition, now the 3DS's competition is Nintendo themselves with the Switch. And they're hesitant to let go of the 3DS. I mean, it's still getting... I talk about this almost every Splat chat. The 3DS is still getting games until 2019. Which is Nintendo just trying to hold on to the 3DS's success as long as possible, even though it is an outdated console with a 240p resolution screen. You know, you think when moving over to new 3DS, they would have fixed that resolution, got it up to like 480 or something. Nope, never happened. Always one of the biggest disappointments. I stand by that. But now Now they're thinking successor to 3DS. I don't think they no. The successor is the Switch. The Switch is a great system. I played it all weekend, which, oh god, I haven't even mentioned that. But I don't think we don't need a successor to the 3DS. The 3DS's successor is the Switch. Put all your development teams working for it. You will be successful. The 3DS is, they're planning to sell 20 million units. 3DS is on the right track. Or Switch is on the right track. It's doing good. They can totally do it. Based on the first minute of that match, I thought we had lost. That first minute was horrible, but after that, no, we started doing better. Yep. But yeah, 3DS doesn't... And what would you succeed? I know Nintendo said this before. When the DS came out, Nintendo said, oh, just because the DS is coming out doesn't mean it's the end of the Game Boy, right? We're gonna still keep the Game Boy moniker around. They didn't. They could just be talking... Nintendo talks out of their ass a lot, especially Japan. Oh my god, but this is also an investors meeting, and I don't know where it can go. I don't think Nintendo's gonna do anything. Nintendo, if they really want to hedge their bets, it's in the portable market. They haven't been doing good in the console market. I mean, the Wii did gangbusters, but the Wii U didn't. And sure, they could stick their heads in the console market again. The console war, they haven't, neither Nintendo, I still argue, ever since the N64, I guess the start of the GameCube era, both Nintendo and Sega haven't participated in the console wars. The N64 Saturn generation was the last time Nintendo was in the console wars. For the most part, they've just focused on doing their own thing, while Sony and Xbox are our new console war combatants. And you know what? Sure, that's the way it should be. Or at least that's the way Nintendo should want to keep it. Ah, crap, that was a horrible placement of that. Because Nintendo will benefit from... They have benefited that, because that was the Wii. The Wii hit the casual market, and it won the generation because of it. And now, when I say Nintendo should stick to the portable market, what they're doing with the hybrid, that's what I'm talking about. The Switch is a perfect, we're playing in both the handheld in the console market. Even though for a lot of people, the Switch just needs to be a handheld. Personally, I use it more on TV, and we will talk about that later. We'll get to it around the middle of the thing. I don't really plan these things out. Oh, nice, 2 kills. But I have some ideas of where this is going to go tonight. But 3DS doesn't need a successor. Well, it already has one, is what I'm saying. And yeah, the Switch is great. I have admittedly not been playing it that much this year, as much as, like, I should. Could that be because of game releases? Maybe. Because I had a long dry spell in there. But yeah. Yeah. I can't check my list. And then, while we're on that, the 3DS support, I've said it before. I said it I keep saying it. 2018 should have been the last year of the 3DS. But it's not. We're going on another year. So 2019 early. Much like, the Wii U. The Wii U technically had died a year before the Switch came out. But you know what I mean. The Wii U technically ended in like March of 2017 with Breath of the Wild, even though I'm assuming everybody who bought it on the Switch. The same thing needs to happen here. Anyone who 3DS needs to end early in the year. That's the only way they're going to get things done. I knew someone was going to be waiting right there. God, die. But yeah, so next up, oh god, I can barely see that. Oh, let's talk about a sad one. The end of Toys R Us. This happened earlier in the month. or was it early this month, late last month? Toys R Us died. And you know, Toys R Us is one of those companies most people knew they were going to go out of business sooner or later. The way it happened was bad, right? Not the way because they got bought out by, this is how I understand it. They got bought out by a bigger company who forced a bunch of debt on them that they just couldn't repay, so they went out of business in the States. They're still open in Canada. Now, a lot of people who mourn Toys R Us hadn't been there in like 20 years, and I get that. Toys R Us was always overpriced, in my opinion. I had been there Amiibo. Toys R Us had exclusives. I know Bowser Jr. was an exclusive Amiibo. So a lot of people went to right? I went there I camped out at a Toys R Us one night. So I quit Amiibo hunting 4 times. Or 3 times actually. I'm back in it for the 4th time. But the first time I ever quit was that night at Toys R Us, where that was when it had gone too far. I was done. And yeah. But Toys R Us ended. Some of these stories, if you watch the Link to the Past streams, which I doubt anybody does, there are some stories tonight that I told in the Link to the Past stream that I will be retelling today, just because they're good. I like the stories. And I went to Toys R Us because my Toys R Us never had any good Amiibo. They had mostly the Animal Crossing ones. They may have had a few Nesses, but other than that, nothing good really. So I went in like 2 days before they closed, expecting to find a bunch of the Animal Crossing ones. And all they had was a little shelf in the front of the store with the only Amiibo. Wow, that was 2 at once. I was cornered. They had Amiibo, the only ones being the freaking, what's it called? The stupid, Sable. It was 30 Sable Amiibo and nothing else. That was literally all they had at my Toys R Us. There was a few other knickknacks, but it was just Amiibo. I called it. It's funny how it was just Sable. Like, I was expecting more of the Animal Crossing. I was expecting Tom Nook and whatnot. And I got the Sable for like 54 cents. It was cheap as hell. But other than that, Toys R Us, we knew it was all going to die eventually. I know Toys R Us, one of the executives said at some point that Amazon was killing the toy store. They're right. But they'll technically be missed either way. They've gone the way of Blockbuster, which I saw this on the news. There's only a single Blockbuster left. It's in Oregon, and they basically, because hipsters, they treat it right like, oh, it's a hipster joint, going to rent movies like the olden days. Because the ones in Alaska went out of business, I guess? That's crazy for me the ones in Alaska, I was not expecting to go out of business. Like, those I could have totally seen sticking around for at least another decade. Especially because didn't John Oliver give them a bunch of stuff recently? I wonder what happened to all that. Or did they even take it? I'm curious about that. But yeah, Toys R Us went the way of the dodo. Well, in the States. Yeah, if it died in the States, I guarantee it doesn't have that much time left in Canada either. It's only a matter of time. It's going the way of everything. The internet kills everything. It killed Toys R... Well, it didn't kill Toys R Us, but it would have. It killed music this year. Oh my god, music has been trash this year. Even though, God, I had that stupid The Middle stuck in my head. This was a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago. I had that, the Middle, Zed, and I don't remember the singer name. It got stuck in my head. Couldn't get it out. Super annoying. Super freaking annoying. Let's see, what else we got? I'll talk about that later. Let's talk about Sony. So if you've been keeping now, I don't play Fortnite. I have it on the Switch. I played it a few times. I played it a few times on PC. Fortnite is not my cup of tea. I have considered doing it on stream and selling out, but that was the joke. But Sony, they did another response to the crossplay, and it's still, oh my god, Sony. I'm not even about crossplay. Right now, I feel bad for the people whose accounts are taken. Because as they've said before, I think, was it the Rocket League devs who said it? That enabling crossplay is literally just a flip of a switch. We've seen it be crossplay on Fortnite happen at least twice. So it's easy, but no, Sony's doubled down on it. And I know, if any company could get them to turn in favor of crossplay, it would be Fortnite. Or Epic Games Fortnite. They could lobby their 11-year... I know, it's going to end in disaster. Lobbying their 11-year-old fans against Sony. But it would... it'd work. It'd be a shit show, but it'd be entertaining as hell. Maybe. Oh my god. Oh god, I just thought of that. I should talk about that for a minute. Nothing to do with gaming. But, did they all have the exact same... I'm disappointed the boy and girl Octolings didn't have more haircuts. Like, I totally play as a boy Octoling, except for I don't like the mohawk, and, I mean, you've seen me. I don't have an afro. I mean, god, the closest haircut to my haircut is probably an female inkling, but... It's just because I haven't had a haircut recently. But but yeah, Sony just needs to get crossplay. Fortnite, lobby your 11-year-old Jake Paul fan base against them. I know some people who play Fortnite are older than that. You get my point. Fortnite, like, okay, yes. Some of these other games with crossplay were big, but Fortnite's the biggest game in the world. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that Microsoft owns Xbox, Microsoft at one point was the biggest game in the world. They could have probably got away with it back in their heyday. Now, they're not. Fortnite is. And again, everything goes in waves, but Fortnite should just do it. They won't be a sacrificial lamb. They'll still be huge. This isn't like Movie Pass, where Movie Pass is clearly on a failing business model, and they're going to die for our sins because... there's no other way Movie Pass is going to end well. Which, if you don't have a Movie Pass, get it while it lasts. It's going to die for our sins, but it's gonna change. Movie Pass is going to save the movie industry in its death. Its life isn't going to be pretty, and they're going to lose a shitload of money. Though they've already lost a shitload of money, but there are sacrificial lamb to save the film industry. Or at least the go to the theater film industry. At least that's my opinion on the whole thing. But Epic, just get your stupid... It would work. I guarantee you. Sony would... If everyone turned against Sony, that would piss them off. And I mean... they won't do it. They'd never do it. But if Epic Games were to go as far as to remove Fortnite from PlayStation until they add crossplay, hindering the console, I mean, it's already the inferior version, but literally hindering the console, that would piss off so many people. It would be just the right amount of shitstorm, and it'd be a sacrifice for the greater good of gaming. It wouldn't be pretty, and it's not gonna happen. But I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. But, oh, and then Fortnite had that event that I guess was a complete shit show. I didn't watch it. Don't like esports, I've said it before. Okay. Let's change up our gear. I want to try one of those new weapons. Maybe the, Gatling. Did they... I remember... Did you see, like, there was a Gatling that was like a boat or a bathtub? Which umbrella? Oh, the undercover Sorella. Okay. Because there's this, and then do I even... Did I even buy the other one? I bought this. I want to do... when was I was working on that hat at some point. I got the golden toothpick. That was such bullshit. Oh my god, getting that golden toothpick. Oh my god, I hated that so much. See, that's my problem with a lot of these, like, special, like this, the golden toothpick, these thing. I don't think that was. I love that look, but I hate Last Ditch Effort. A horrible ability. But the actual, like, visor itself, I think that looks really cool. But nope. 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 Let's see. God, I can barely see my screen. Ow. Trash. My phone's, like, almost completely dead. Okay, I guess we got some recent-ish news. So, Mario Kart 8. I do not own Mario Kart 8. It's not my style of... Well, okay, actually, I'm actually really good at Mario Kart. I really enjoy it. But I had Mario Kart on Wii U. I couldn't justify myself buying it again. I'm just being honest. Maybe if it was on sale, but at the moment, no. No, thank you. But Mario Kart... So, a while ago, they added in the ability for Labo support. Which, if I'm correct, they actually did a thing where if you can actually buy just the Labo, whatchamacallit, the bike, just so you can use it in Mario Kart 8. And it's actually really cheap it's like $10 or something like that. Standalone, that's kind of cool. I think that's a really cool thing that they added in. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, sure, I'm down for that. And then just yesterday, they added in Link from... Well, Link was already in there, but they added in a Breath of the Wild costume. I have not used a Gatling. Is it called a It's called a Splatling, isn't it? I have not used a Splatling in so long. Holy shit, I do not remember how these work at all. Well, I clearly remember how they work, but that's not what I meant. Oh wow, I actually killed them. But, so Link, and it's the Breath of the Wild costume, and they added in a new bike. That's the bike from the Breath of the Wild DLC that I still have yet to buy, but I'll probably be doing on stream later this year. No promises. God, I have not used the Splatling in so long. I really like the idea of the Splatling, but I just never took to it. Unlike the Brella, which was this same situation. But the Brella actually, like, made sense to me. I got the Brella. The Splatling, not so much. I tried to use the one in the first game and just couldn't, so I haven't even dared to venture with it in this one. I like the gimmick though of the pen. But so yeah, Mario Kart, it's cool, and there also are things that, hey, maybe they'll be adding more stuff. I don't want more DLC. I want a new Mario Kart game. I've said it before, Nintendo Kart. We have Link in Animal Crossing and Mario Kart. The new Mario Kart should be Nintendo Kart. Only logical solution. It'd be really cool. I think it'd be really cool. And I know there are conflicts with HAL and Kirby and Pokemon, but it's Nintendo. They'll make it work. There's so many potential states, because it'd basically be Smash Kart. And because we've done 8 Mario Karts now, and they could do another Mario Kart on Switch, but we already have one. It wouldn't be the same. Just do Nintendo Kart. Okay. Yeah. So, I guess, yeah, actually, there was one other topic that I kind of just that I was going to talk about, but I kind of just glanced over. This is the first time for Snapper Canal showing up this entire thing. Wow. Nintendo, or Disney, so, I guess, I don't admittedly know all the details off the top of my head, but I guess years ago, 10 years ago, James Gunn said something made, I use quote with this, jokes about like rape or something horrible like that. And because of that, I guess the alt-right or someone used it against him to get him fired from Disney, and he's no longer working on Guardians of the Galaxy 3. This just happened today. That sucks. Big time. Yes, okay, this stuff happened a decade ago. And 2 decades ago, Trump was a Democrat. Actually, I think that was 3 decades ago. People change over time. That was 3 decades ago, wasn't it? Because, yeah, I think Clinton was still in office. It's been a while. Again, I was a wee bab back then. People's opinions change. Yeah. But no, James Gunn, he did great with the first 2 Guardians of the Galaxy. And yeah, they're gonna get some nameless shell to come in and do it. Kind of like how they got J.J. Abrams to do Star Wars Episode 9. Because they needed someone to come in and do it. It's gonna be disappointing. I mean, it could be good. It is both Disney and Marvel. They haven't, even their worst movies, you know, Thor, Dark World, Hulk, even their worst movies aren't that bad. Like, DC has done much worse than Disney's done. Suicide Squad. I actually do, on kind of an unrelated, well, kind of, I actually do kind of want to see Justice League again. They confirmed that Justice League, there was supposed to be a Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. That was like 3 hours or something, that was a lot longer. And like when Batman v Superman came out, I was like, my only condition to rewatch this is the Snyder cut, kind of like I did with Watchmen. I need to see that one again as well. I need to read the book. I've never read Watchmen. I'm not a comic guy. I need to read Watchmen one of these days. I was gonna say, it's gonna be close, but I think we got that. I'm doing good tonight. I just jinxed myself, knock on wood. Wow, we had 2 of the same weapon. But it sucks because this could have been... Guardians of the Galaxy is maybe the third biggest sci-fi movie series, right behind Star Wars and Star Trek. And right now it's got a perfect track record, 2 for 2. Unlike Star Wars, which is what? Half of the movies are good. I mean, it depends. Do you like Force Awakens split people? Last Jedi split people even more. I like both of them, but story for another day. Star Trek is also same thing, 50-50. In the original series, the odd movies were good. The odd were bad. The even were good. And then in the reboot series, it's the inverse, I think. I don't know if people actually like the first reboot Star Trek movie. I haven't seen it I don't think I've seen it since it came out. I never saw Beyond. I should have. I heard Tarantino's working on a Star Trek movie. That could be really cool. I'm actually really... If that's actually happening, I'm really excited. But, yeah. And then I wonder... Because I know Gunn was talking about getting Mark Hamill to come in and work on... And do something with... Guardians 3. Please let that still happen. I know Mark Hamill gets typecast as Luke Skywalker, or at least he did in Hollywood. But then he went on to do like animation. Mark Hamill is your childhood in animation. He was in so much stuff as a voice actor, and he is so good. He's amazing. Rewatching The Last Jedi, I did that like 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was even longer than that. He is still amazing. I hope they get... Even if it's just like a small cameo style thing, I want Mark Hamill in Guardians 3. Just so he can be in 2 of the biggest sci-fi series of all time. I don't think he's been in Star Trek. Get him in Put him in your Star Trek movie. He deserves it. He's amazing. We think Luke Skywalker, but I'll always think the Joker. He is the best Joker. I don't care what anyone says. Ledger may have been good, but he's better. Oh, God, I just went off for that tangent there about movies. I've seen Ant-Man and the Wasp twice. I usually don't, with the exception of, well, the freaking Infinity War, I don't see Marvel movies more than once. That's a very rare thing for me. But I went and saw Ant-Man and the Wasp twice. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies. It's such a small story, it's a side story, but in the realm of after Infinity War, nah, that's something we really actually needed. It's really good. Oh God, have I said this before? So Solo bombed at the box office, and because of that, who knows about the Obi-Wan movie? Who knows where this is gonna go from there? But I didn't see Solo when it first came out. Usually I go see movies on launch, right? Launch, opening night. But with Solo, I just didn't get around to it. And then after that, because I didn't see it on opening night, I just never saw it. So like a month after its release, yeah, end of June, I finally went and saw Solo. And you know, it wasn't that bad. I was expecting far worse. A lot of it really did work. We lost. That's close, but we lost. Holy shit, really? Maybe I guess because we have the sides? I can't tell if this milkshake is just thick, or if I'm just struggling to get, or if it keeps getting stuck on things. I think it's the latter, but still. So where was I going? Um, any other stupid... But yeah, Solo wasn't bad. I liked it. Do I regret pushing it off? No. There's also... I don't know if we get into spoilers, but I guess I'll do spoilers for like a minute. At the end of the movie... So, spoilers. At the end of the movie, Darth Maul shows up. Okay, that's clearly a reference to the Clone Wars, which did actually get rebooted. Or they're restarting it. But is that supposed to set up the Obi-Wan movie? Because that's how I take that scene. Because there were talks about Ewan McGregor coming back for an Obi-Wan movie, which now that Solo's bombed, which I heard Disney was preparing for it to bomb, but whatever. I feel like that was supposed to set up our Obi-Wan movie. That now may or may not be happening. I hope it happens, because out of all the stupid Star Wars stuff, I wanted that one the most. Only time will tell. Even though I do totally agree with what Disney's doing after Episode 9, and giving Rian Johnson his own trilogy, giving the Game of Thrones guys their own trilogy. I think that's the smartest way to proceed with Star Wars. Get out of the Skywalker stuff. Clearly, The Last Jedi is proving to be way too controversial. Do something else. I did not mean to use that here. That was a mistake. Should have... Yeah, over here. But yeah, do stuff without Skywalker. Just Star Wars universe, Jedi, all that shit. But just no Skywalker. That would work so much better. Yeah. Anything else? Well, not just for topics of off-topic, not video games. I don't think I've been... Yeah. So, let's talk about Nintendo Switch. So, well, like we've been. So, I said earlier, the online launches in a few months, and Virtual Console worrisome. But what about the other improvements? The main one I'm thinking of right now is we need stuff like menu music, right? Like, oh, music in the eShop. I've been calling this quality of life, which remember when Nintendo was doing quality of life? It was clearly just a face-saving maneuver in the front of the board, but that could have been really interesting. Oh my god, I was watching an anime recently, and there was they were playing Wii Fit, and I was like, oh my god, I haven't seen that game in ages. I had Wii Fit back in the day. Look at me, I needed it. I always wondered if it worked. I'm getting sidetracked, I am. But we need menu music in the eShop. We need just menu music in general. I mean, I still, there's that joke that the Wii Shop music is like the most hypnotic music ever. Now I'm thinking of that stupid orchestra where they played it. Good stuff, internet. Even though you may disappoint me 1,000 times a day, every once in a while you do something good. But yeah, menu music's one of my first things. Themes. Wow, we destroyed that. That was not pretty. At all. Wow, and I did the least that round. I'm clearly not good at these chargers. I'm not good at buckets either. I should try out that bucket. Another thing is themes, like a Breath of the Wild theme. People have been talking about this ever since the Switch launched with its black and white theme. I use a black theme. There are people who actually get really mad if you have a white theme. That's so stupid. Milkshake. We've only been fighting Octolings this entire thing, haven't we? I've never... Yeah, see, and I bet Octolings are just fighting Octolings. I haven't watched any... I mean, I started shortly after the Splatfest started. Well, about 10 minutes after. But themes, personally, I know they're going to charge money for them. That was always, I kind of wish they give away themes every once in a while, right? Like promotional. Because I know that happens on PlayStation a lot, where you can get a free theme or something like that. I know they're going to charge with them, or they're going to come with games. Which I hope if they make themes that like come with games, I hope that's all retroactively introduced. But Brett, I wouldn't use any of them. And of course, like as part of there's been a bunch of like Nintendo menu theme redesigns that I've seen over the time. And yeah, the interface right now is very bland, and I mean, it could be worse. It could be Xbox's interface, which, God, Windows 10 is not pretty. It's not good to look at. Did PS3 have a bad... It was PS3 that I'm thinking of, right? There are bad... The Switch isn't the worst interface I've ever seen, but it's definitely not the most appealing. And I know, like, the Wii or Wii U didn't have themes. Did the Wii even have, like, a black theme? I mean, like, the actual... You know what I mean. Because I know it only came in black and white. Oh, did you see that Spider-Man PS4? Oh my god, I gotta talk about that. I'll talk about that next. After we get done with quality of life. The other thing is, Netflix. We need Netflix. We need Hulu. Or, we already have Hulu. Netflix, I can see Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll's big, popular. It was on the Wii. First time I ever had it was on the Wii U. I can see Crunchyroll, Amazon Prime Video. God, I can see putting Verve or one of those other ones on there. I feel like every time you turn around, one of those video streaming services is failing. But you might as well for the moment. And the most important one, or, well, not most important, well, yeah, I guess you can say most important. I mean, we are on it. Twitch. Well, unless you're watching this in the VOD. Twitch, Nintendo has said in the past, they don't respect Twitch. Because they're a Japanese company, they don't see the point in streaming games like we do in America. So they don't see how Twitch is so popular and so big. And that's why they dick over YouTube, because they just don't get it. Because Nintendo of Japan is a bunch of stubborn dickheads just like Sony. We need to, I mean, we give Sony a lot of shit for crossplay. But Nintendo, at points, is just as, if not worse. And and some people are afraid to insult, oh, big Nintendo, because they're Nintendo. No, Nintendo is full of shit. We all know it's true. We just don't like to admit it. They've done horrible things in the past. But I want Twitch on, like, I mean, yeah, it's not the most important device to use it on. I mean, basically everything can do it nowadays, but it's just one of those little things that you need, right? I mean, the freaking 3DS had YouTube, and God, did you ever try the 3DS's YouTube player? Garbage. The one built-in browser actually worked a lot better. Which, okay, there's another thing. We need a browser. I mean, the console's been out for more than a year. And I get it. Nintendo wants to focus as a gaming machine. But a browser would be pretty nice. Replace the news tab with a browser, or just put it right next to it. I think that would work. I don't think anyone would complain. It makes perfect sense in my mind. But who knows where Nintendo's gonna go with it. So Netflix, internet browser. And there's just a bunch of other little quality of life improvements, folders, being able, like, I actually always liked Nintendo as being one of the only platforms that actually, like, kept game times, like, very accurately. The activity log on Wii U and 3DS Those were stupidly accurate, and they were basically the only console that... I don't know if Sony did it, but I know Xbox for sure didn't. Which is always a pain in the ass. But I want that back. Right now, you have this rudimentary way of checking it. That's admittedly not that great. And I know you can set up the parental controls to do it. But is it really worth it? Really? Nah, it isn't. I just realized, I have no idea what makes this Splat link so special. Like, I know it's, okay, I see it's obviously, it's based on a pen clip. And I know, if I'm correct, they are actually adding a Splat link that holds its charge while submerged, kind of like snipers do. That's kind of cool. That's an interesting gimmick. I know they're adding a bubble boat, which also is really neat. I don't, neither of them have come out, but they will in the imminent future. We've seen gameplay of it. What else? Any other, there's just a bunch of simple quality of life things we need. God, I feel like, actually I'm gonna kind of defend this. Not in the way you think. I don't think friend codes are as bad as everyone puts them out to be. Should there be an easy way to just search up a fucking username like every other system does? Yes. Is a friend code that bad? No. I feel people blow it way out of proportion. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Shit. Wow, that's a lot of ink. What else? There's one other... Oh, the chatting. So, Fortnite actually has in-game chatting. I've never used it. But it just... You plug your headphones into the Switch, and it just works. Nintendo needs to just get that working with all their other games. Their online app has been out for a year now. And I think it's been out for a year. Maybe it's been... Maybe more, maybe less. I think it's been a little more, because I think it came out right before Splatoon 2. But it's been out for a year, and they haven't made a single change to it. Really. I mean, yeah, there's some in-app Splatoon stuff, but the actual app itself is still ugly as hell. And I don't think the app is the worst idea in the world. But you need to be able to just plug your headphones into the system, or controller, or something. I don't know. Nintendo, you're good at making games. You're idiots at everything else. You don't know how to run a business. You don't know how to market. You barely know how to make a console. But you know how to make good games. Let's do 1, 2 more, maybe even 3 more. And then we'll take a... I guess I'm going to go finish off this milkshake. It'll take like a minute. And then I'll show a few things off, actually. I want to talk, I guess, to end off this first half. I want to talk about what happened at Target. So if you don't follow Wario64 on Twitter, follow him. He's the best source for if you're ever looking for anything, go to him. But there was this whole glitch at Target with promo codes. I had a PS4, $150. Octopath Traveler, $18, and well, the PS4 got canceled almost instantly. But Octopath Traveler, I could have had it because I didn't buy Octopath Traveler. I still haven't beat Xenoblade, and I told myself I wasn't gonna buy the game until I beat Xenoblade. $18 though, yeah, no, I'll buy it for that. But I had the game. It would have gone through if I had done pickup in store. I did ship to home on accident, like an idiot. If ever any glitch like that happens, always pick up in store, always. But I didn't, so I missed it. I would have had it because it remained in my order log for about a day before getting canceled I almost had Octopath Traveler. But I almost had a PS4 for stupid cheap. That was half off. That's not bad. Because after E3, I didn't buy a PS4 at E3. I still have yet to buy it one day. But that day is not today. You know when I'll probably end up actually buying a PS4? When the PS5 is announced next year. Guarantee it. Because that's just how I work. I saw them, but I couldn't get another charge done fast enough. That's when I'll finally end up buying a PS4. When the PS5 is announced. Unless the PS5 has backwards compatibility. Then that's a different story. Oh my god, that was just a barrage of everything. The afro with the band. Oh my god. But yeah, and then they announced... So I'm actually... Even though I don't have a PS4, there are still games I do get excited for. Spider-Man being one of them. I am really excited for Spider-Man. And they announced a Spider-Man PS4. And I'm torn. On one hand, I actually do think it looks really good. I like the red. But on the other hand, I don't think I've ever, you know, like custom consoles with like custom color schemes and all that stuff. I don't think I've ever bought one of those. I'm usually always just a basic black or white type of person. Usually, I mean, my Wii was white because the black one didn't exist yet. 3DS is it Cosmic Black or was it Cosmic Blue? Or, well, it was black. I had a black 3DS, I had a blue 3DS XL, but I had a red DS, but that was, I think, that was the DS Lite Standard Edition. But I don't go for the decals, like, I'm thinking of the Tribal Tattoo DS Lite, or Game Boy Advanced SP. I never had an original DS. The first DS I got was a DS Lite. Yeah, that match did not go well. I almost bought a Wind Waker Wii U, but that didn't happen. And I've never bought any special 3DS. Nah. Standard gray Game Boy, standard purple Game Boy Advance. I know the Game Boy came in a bunch of different colors. And we're actually going to talk about the Game Boy a little bit later. Good. So good. But yeah, that's kind of what happened. That Target, God, it was so close. But you win some, you lose most. Really. Oh, look, somebody's got the crown. Oh, two people have the crown. I love the look of that crown. If it didn't have an ability I didn't like, I would totally use it. But, God, like I said earlier, all the good gear has bad abilities. Or at least abilities that I don't use. When it comes to ability, I'm a very simple person. Oh my god, that was so close. I'm gonna save that. That was funny. That was great. But simple. Yeah, I don't care about... I don't care about decals at all. I almost bought a gold PS4. That didn't happen. I almost bought the blue PS4 this year. I talk myself out of it every year about getting a PS4. I have an X-Bone. Well, technically I don't. Kind of. But nope. Yeah, no, I don't have an X-Bone. What am I? I mean, I could use one at any point, but yeah. And then I just, also while I'm just thinking about it off the top of my head, We'll actually get when we get after I go finish off this milkshake in a minute. I will actually be talking about games I've been playing this week because I'm slowly turning this show into every other podcast ever made. And as part of that, you know, most other gaming podcasts have a moment where they're like, "Hey, what have you been playing this week?" So I'm basically talking what I've been playing this month, which I find myself, which we'll get into when I get back, but I find it hard to buy new games recently. Like, mainly because I've been going back and playing retro games. If you saw, or well, you didn't, I guarantee it, but because nobody follows me on Twitter. But on my birthday, I was playing. I booted up my Game Boy Advanced and played Pokemon Pinball. I could barely see the screen. Beat my previous record in Pokemon Pinball. And Pokemon Pinball, so much fun. I've been playing a lot of retro games recent. As you've seen on stream, I've been doing A Link to the Past. I did Link to the World. I did Link Between Worlds and Minish Cap, but I've already talked about that. But I beat Super Mario World last week for the first time in... when did Super Mario Advanced World come back out on Game Boy Advanced? That was seriously the last time I beat Super Mario World. It's been that long. But yeah, I just can't I can't bring myself to buy new games. I mostly am just playing old stuff. We won. Awesome. Nice. Okay. And that should get us up to champion. So close to King and Queen. Only about 100 more battles. I'm gonna change weapons as well. I'm gonna go buy that bucket. But yeah, I'll be back in like a minute. All right, I'm back. Oh my God, I grabbed a glass of water as well, like I always do, because I've been talking for a while. I have no freaking idea how people do this for six hours. Maybe it's because it's their job. Yeah. So let's buy this bucket. You can see I have not bought that many weapons. It's this one. I swear I bought it, but I guess not. Yeah, oh god, look at all those. And yeah, it's a lot of every umbrella. I bought every umbrella, even though the only one I use is this one, and I think it's this one. Yeah, because I don't like Sorella umbrella's not, or whatever that umbrella's not my style. Yeah, we're gonna continue, but before we actually get back into it, I do want to show off for a minute. So I was talking about Target deals, and there was a thing. This happened, I think, was it? This was either end of June or maybe no, it was right before July. It was right before July. Walmart had this thing happen where, hey, what's up? Where it was Joy-Cons. So I'm talking about decals and right how I don't buy decals and whatnot because it's not my style. But when Splatoon came out, it launched with a set of Joy-Cons, right? Because the Switch isn't doing colors. It's black and white or red and whatever, red and blue. But it hasn't. There's been arms yellow, but it really isn't doing like special colors except for a Labo one for some reason. Can we? Let's actually see. Can I find this real quick? Sure enough. Look, a Labo. They did a brown Labo Switch. That's the first Switch with not just with right custom controllers and a custom dock, and that's kind of neat. Contest again. Don't have Labo. Don't care. Hey, look, there's that Zelda bike I was talking about earlier. Oh yeah, God, the DLC for whatever came out. I figured a communication error. The DLC for Sonic. It's $5. That's not bad at all. That's really cool that it's really cheap like that. They could have made it so much more expensive than they actually did. But nope, it's staying cheap. But where I was going with that, I got pink and green. I have them backwards. And yeah, I've had these on my Switch ever since I bought them. I think I put them on like... Yeah, it was before July because I put them on my Switch on my birthday. This was my birthday. It was... I think I had a discount code as well, which stacked, so it was like less than $20. Yeah, I love these colors. I know, right? The joke is pink is girly, but I really like the pink Joy-Con. I really do. And yeah, so now I have 2 sets of Joy-Cons and finally have 4 controllers, even though I was getting around it with just with GameCube controllers because the GameCube adapter works, and you gotta have that. And the other thing, now I've kind of been hinting at this the entire time, but for the past like week, 9 days, I went on vacation, and it was basically relaxing, and we'll get into it when I get into the quality of the games I've been playing. But along the way, I kind of went to Target, and oh, you can see my screen. Oh god, that's trippy as hell. Yeah, I bought Pearl and Marina. I have not opened... I'm not an NIB collector. I'm not... I open everything. I just haven't opened them yet because I was on vacation. I just got back today. Vacation. But I have them. The other thing that's stopping me is, like I said earlier, even though I like Pearl's crown, I don't like the ability on it, so that's kind of holding me back from using it. But they're great designs. I'm still a slut for Amiibo. What can I say? I own right around 100. It's just gonna keep getting worse. Ooh. I just thought of something. I need to take care of it. The other thing, even though I don't have it with me, Actually, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I need to take care of something real quick. Okay, back. The other, I noticed it in the background and I was like, oh shit. I've had an NES Classic. If you've seen it on stream, I barely got one. Couldn't get another controller. I got myself another controller. It was actually funny when I went and picked up the amiibo. There was somebody there and he's like, "Oh, are you buying the?" Who came up? And he was like, "Oh, are you buying them all?" And I was like, "No, I'm not one of those assholes." Because I know what the amiibo game is like. I've seen it, right? And he was like, "Okay, then the employee was right there. You had to go to the back to get it." And I was like, "Oh, I'll take one as well." And then he walked back to get the amiibo. And I'm talking to the guy, and I'm like, "So, did you pick up Octopath Traveler today?" And he was like, what?" He thought I came in for the NES Classic, because I guess Target was getting a restock. They didn't, but that's what he thought. And he was clearly in it for... He's the type of person the NES Classic was made for. He hadn't played games in years at that point, right? He had like a young kid with him, so maybe that was it. But he hadn't played video games in years. But this was his nostalgia. He's the type of person... If Nintendo wasn't so full of people who just don't know how to sell a product, because they're so bad with marketing, and they just don't know how to do it. This is the type of guy who should have gotten an NES Classic on day one with everyone else who wanted one, because he's the nostalgic type of guy. And yeah, he was in it for an NES Classic. They didn't have him. I told him to go to GameStop, because I think GameStop had them up at the website, and I think Amazon has it up maybe even right now. But... yeah, that... it happens. Oh, it's a woofer. Oh, it's a woofer. Oh, and it's a tallest woofer as well. Who's the tallest woofer? Who's the biggest boy? Who is the biggest boy? You smell like farts, woofer. They're good. But yeah, that's... oh, do you want me to play ball? Sit. 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 Shit. Okay, we'll get back to regularly scheduled programming once I pick that up. Where'd it go? Oh god, it's all the way back there. Oh shh. God, I keep thinking of things I need to do. God, Roofer, you really do smell like farts. I can't reach it. Oh shit. Let me see what I have. There you go, Woofer. God, Wolfer, you smell like poop. It's not pretty. He's still a good boy, he just smells like farts. Okay, let's get back to it. You better not lose that behind the filing cabinet again. If you saw the... Oh, God, that smells... Oh, God, it smells horrible. If you saw the final part of the Octo expansion, that was... I was on the final boss, and that just... But he's a good... Ah, shit. He's a good woofer. He deserves to play. Okay, now we're getting back for real. So, like I said, I took a vacation. Vacation. And I really didn't do anything. It was family stuff. I went and watched pool like 5 times. I played once. I'm not good at pool. Actually, didn't a pool game just come out on Switch? Pool Panic, Adult Swim? I wonder if that's any good. If I wasn't so not into buying games right now. You know what's funny? I was so excited for Hollow Knight. I haven't even bought it. Sonic Mania DLC is $5. Nope. There was the other big one. Sonic Mania DLC, there was another big one that I just haven't bought. Nope, I just cannot be bothered. That's how this works. I just cannot bring myself to buy games. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I borrowed a PS4 just to play the original, or just to play the first game for a video that never got made. Nope, never happened. Oh, move back here. So, I guess I'm gonna talk about some of the games I've been playing. So let's actually go back to wow, I don't know how I like this weapon. Ooh, that's not pretty. Well, we'll use it for like 3 or 4 games. But I played, so back, right as E3, so if you saw at E3, the game Just Cause 4 got announced. I'm a pretty big Just Cause fan. And I was thinking, maybe I should play through the games again. So I started playing Just Cause 2 again. I'm technically completion-wise, I think I'm like 20% complete with the game. Maybe even less than that. I don't remember. It's been like 9 days since I played. But I like Just Cause. It's pretty solid game. Yeah, no, I suck with this. Buckets are not my forte. I'll fully admit that. Come on. Don't die. Oh, okay. Ah, shit. I was like, mutually assured destruction. I'm fine with that. But, so I started playing Just Cause. It's a shooter. It's a single-player shooter. And now, even though I shit on Nintendo a lot, and they deserve every bit of it, like I said, they still know how to make games. They still know how to make fun games. And they're one of the few companies that still has fun games as their #1 priority. Like, Mario Odyssey may have been a flawed game. I mean, just watch Joseph Anderson's video. If you liked Mario Odyssey, like me, gave it a positive review and everything, watching Joseph Anderson's review, oh god, it makes it hard to like that game. That being said though, I still love Mario Odyssey. It's just not a perfect game, and and what makes me still love it is it's fun. Nintendo liquidizes fun and injects it straight into your vein, a la heroin. But Just Cause is one of the few other series, and just Square Enix in general, is one of the few other developers that still gets fun. They know they can make fun games, and Just Cause 3, great example. It's a fun game. They're fun games, Brett. That is one of the few, I guess it's a meme that I get. They're good dogs, Brett. People don't use it that much anymore, but I get it. I actually had this whole thing with memes over the weekend about, oh, which memes are still funny? Are memes even funny anymore? Because memes are... I don't get modern memes. I barely got memes from like a decade ago. What makes you think I'd get modern ones? Probably not. We may have enough in their territory. Wow, we did better. I always expect... I'm not a good judge at this. I always expect it to be closer, but it isn't. I don't think I've ever used a bucket on stream before. I don't even think if I own a bucket other than this one. But, yeah, Just Cause 3, that's... I need to beat it. Now that I'm back, I'll probably beat it. Maybe over the week. I have a lot of games. I have so many videos to make this weekend. Oh my god, it's gonna be long. It's gonna be a long, anxious process. I gotta actually do a Splatoon video now that we're at a year. If it wasn't for vacation, I probably should have been done. It probably should have came out today, but that didn't happen. It's not that big of a deal. What was the last Splatfest? Because I think the last Splatfest, even though my team lost... Oh, it was Pulp versus No Pulp. I was No Pulp. Even though No Pulp lost, I think that was actually my best performance in a Splatfest to date. I did really good. And this is pretty good as well. I mean, yeah, I've lost a few, but yeah. But where was I going? So yeah, Just Cause. The other game was, a Switch game, actually. Celeste. Celeste is... I love it. It came out earlier this year. I reviewed it over on the main channel. I love it so much. But when I played it, even though I reviewed it, I did not 100% it. I'll fully admit there were a few things I didn't do, including basically all of the seaside. So now I've gone back. I started it up. This was, God, 2 weeks ago maybe. Right before I went on vacation, like that weekend before. So yeah. So God, it's I guess 3 weeks. Seems like a long time, but it's probably that. I started up Celeste, and you know, I still love it. Still one of my favorite platformers. There was one moment where it was driving me insane. The difficulty, man. It was B-side. I don't think it was the summit, but it was B-side something, and it was driving me insane. Maybe it was either the summit or the one before it. Or God, was it even the core? But well, yeah, I haven't played it in like 9 days. I do need to do a few more seasides. It's still really solid. It's still one of my, even with the insane difficulty that the B-side is and the C-side, it's still one of my favorites. I still love the game so much. It's still so good. Oh wow, I actually got him. See, that's how you're supposed to use a bucket, man. To do shit like that. Oh my god. And then, yeah, but yeah, that's Celeste. I still love it. And then the other one that well, like, I keep using the quotes on vacation because it wasn't like, oh, I went anywhere foreign and did like and like went and saw the tourists, even though, God, it's family. You win some, you lose some. Story for another day. Story for never. I'm actually never gonna tell that to the internet. Maybe if I get drunk. But so it was basically just me relaxing, and I bought Stardew Valley when it released on Switch. I put, God, probably over only like 2 hours. It's just, you know, it's funny. I'm not the biggest fan of life simulation games. Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon, The Sims. There are exceptions. Animal Crossing. I don't get life simulation games. I get Animal Crossing. That game is so good. Tomodachi Life. Tomodachi Life is a weird, let's use the word quirky game, but that's half the fun. The quirkiness is what makes it good. And yeah, I went through Tomodachi Life. Well, yeah. But I booted up Stardew Valley. So when it comes to the Switch, I play 90% in TV mode, right? Like I am right now. Because I have a TV, I might as well play in TV mode. And yeah, sometimes that's really beneficial. Celeste comes to mind, right? I've made a lot of progress in that game. All on TV. There are very few where I just play handheld. Usually usually for some reason. It's always weird when it happens. But what happened was, where I went, they didn't have a TV. Well, yeah. So, I had to play in TV mode, or, well, handheld, right? Just with the two controllers attached to the console. It's docked in handheld mode, yeah. So I played handheld mode, and it really, I haven't played handheld mode in a while, but that made Stardew Valley. I never really noticed how much of a difference just having the console right there in your hands, playing it, no big TV, like a handheld game, how much it just sucked me in. I still have not put that much time into it. I went from maybe 2 hours to 20 hours. That's not much of a difference. I mean, for me, doing a life simulation game, that's pretty big, but that's not my point. Well, yeah. And yeah, I just started playing Stardew Valley again, and you know, it's really good. And yeah, playing it in handheld mode is exactly what I needed. Yeah. So I booted up my old game. It's mostly me just fishing, honestly. So it's first year. I'm in the month of fall, and I've already maxed out my fishing stat. I'm working on marriage because, of course, it's interesting, and I still feel like I'm doing something wrong with my farm. Like, I haven't looked up. The only thing I looked up in the game is gifts, just because while I was doing the courting stuff of just shoving berries in their face until they agree to date you, I was doing that, but it wasn't working, so I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna look up what gifts are the best to give, and I actually was correct. Like, I wasn't doing berries, but like, I had an idea, but I hadn't actually tried it, and yeah, no, it was correct, so, yeah, I kinda... But other than that, and I looked up one thing with fish, because I caught this one fish, and I could not figure out how to catch it again. Like, everything I tried didn't work for some reason, and it was really starting to get on my nerves. And yeah, I figured it out and was able to catch a second one. I've been I don't know what to store. Like, I feel like there are some things that I really should be like, oh, I'm gonna store this up, or I'm just gonna throw this away. I'm focusing a lot on the what's it called? The town hall is a good guide, in my opinion, but I feel like I'm doing farming wrong. Fishing, I totally get. I think I'm doing fishing fine. I'm doing courting fine, even though I probably should be talking to people other than the girl I'm courting. Well, I am. I try to focus anytime there's a birthday. I always, if I can give a gift, I will. And then What's the other? There was one other big thing. Mining. Mining's the other one. That took like 4 shots to kill. Oh my god, that's horrible. But I've been doing a lot of mining. I'm down to like level 80? I don't know how deep the mines go. My guess is 120. It could be deeper. But mining, mining was actually one of my biggest worries when going into the game, but it's actually working out pretty well. Like, I was a lot less worried. Like, mining actually turned out a lot easier than I thought, even though in some of these later levels, I am really struggling. Like, once I got to, I think, 80, right now I'm like 80 or 85, and I'm just deadlocked. Because I can't get any farther, and I'm not having any luck. But yeah, I've just been playing a lot of Stardew Valley, and it didn't click with me in TV mode, but in handheld mode, it did, and I'm really enjoying it. Of course, now that I'm back home and I have a TV and I can play in TV mode, will I? Ooh, that's a good question. Will I have to take another year off from the game? Ooh, maybe. I actually, I don't know when I bought it, but I actually own the game on PC. I've owned Stardew Valley. I own Stardew Valley and Owlboy. 2 games I was interested in picking up on the Switch that I owned on PC, but yet Stardew Valley I bought again because I was more likely to play it on Switch than I was PC. Oh, they also announced, thinking of Stardew Valley, they announced multiplayer is coming in August 1st on PC. I don't know about anywhere else, but yeah. That's cool. Again, it's not... I don't know a single other person that owns it. But that's cool. I totally see why that game multiplayer would appeal. And I'm also really interested in their next game. Or at least, I think it's the same developers. They're doing one based on, what's that? Like a Harry Potter Hogwarts style school? That sounds really appealing. I'm totally... I want to play that, but I don't know when that comes out. That's probably not for a while, because I feel like it's only like I feel like the team's only like a dozen people, even though it's the same engine. I mean, it's... Yahtzee Croshaw described it. Stardew Valley just murdered Harvest Moon. Yeah, that's all the games I've been playing. I played, a new update for Enter the Gungeon came out, either yesterday or 2 days ago. Is today the 20th? Yesterday. I think it came out on the 19th. So yesterday, as of today, bought it again. And, yeah, you know, I'm not good at roguelikes. Gungeon, Isaac, there's another big one, Tumbleseed. Not the one I was thinking of, but yeah. I'm not good at roguelikes like that. I play them, I'm not good at them. I had a really good run of Gungeon today. Like, the first time I played it today with the update for the first time, really great run. But, we'll see. The more you play it, the better you get. And yeah, I played it a few times leading up to, the advanced Gungeons and Dragons. God, the game's a living pun at this point. I wish I could have popped that bubble. That would have been a great kill. Who just... Shaka Conroy? What? I mean, that's literally the name, just spelled differently. Oh, nice. That was a nice hit. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like this bucket. I think we won that, yeah. And then other than that, I watched anime. You know, the more time goes on, the harder I think my tastes are getting, let's use the word better. Or they're at least, my palate's getting refined. I guess that's another way you can put it. But I'm being stingier and stingier when it comes to anime. Some of the animes I used to like, I don't like anymore. Or at least I start them, watch the first episode and being like, you know, I'm good. I hate you. The Apple Doolies are okay. You're good. Let's go to the Gold Dynamo for like a match or two. 2019. Ooh, that's next year. But I watched Chivalry of a Fallen Knight. You know, one of my mini enemies is he called Digibro? I feel like his name's Digibro. I've only ever seen one of his 2 videos. He's probably a fine guy, sure, whatever. I'm assuming this was him, but I consider him one of my enemies. Oh, I consider a lot of anime fans my enemies, because damn anime fans, they ruined anime. But I remember seeing a video from him. One of the few videos of him I've seen is one where it was, oh, how you can, oh god, we have 2 golds on our team. Oh, this isn't going to end well. 2 golden rollers never ends well. I mean, I'd argue 1 is a stretch. But he once did a video about, like, how to judge an anime from a single episode, or, right, why you should judge an anime based on a single episode, because a lot of people have a 3-episode rule. Personally, I don't entirely agree with it, but I see where they're coming from. But he was, so he did I don't remember what the actual video, I think it was about Gate. Whatever. Again, enemy. But, so I watched this Chivalry of a Fallen Knight, and based on the first episode, I was like, nope, nah, it's something I should like, just because my taste is horrible, but, nah, god, wow, that pushed me back far. I thought only Krakens had that kind of pushback. But I was like, But then, the more I watched of it, but even though I was like, I'm not really feeling this, I continued watching, and honestly, it got a lot better. I'm gonna call it a harem anime that actually had, like, a definitive love interest. He actually picked the guy he loved. That almost never happens. That alone got me interested. The rest of the show is, that's fine. It had its ups, it had its downs. But yeah, that was the first one. I tried. There's one, the one that I just keep trying to watch, and no matter how many times I do, I just cannot get into it. Chubra. It's about girls going through well, their teenage years, growing up. It sounds a lot worse than it. Well, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't sound bad. You know what I mean? Like what it's called and what I expected. I expected something way more perverted than it actually is. The entire point is actually like, oh, this is just about people. This isn't about like the perversion, even though it's complicated. I tried watching it. Nope. The entire time, I maybe got through 9 episodes. I'm gonna finish it. I'm going to finish it. There are a lot of things that I think are really good about it, but I'm struggling. I'll fully admit that. And then the other one was Hina Matsure? I think that's what it was called. A show that I actually think is really... I finished it actually early this morning. And you know, it got stuck in my head. Like, I just kept thinking about it. It was really good. I didn't expect it. There are some things I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of uncertain about. But no, I think I really enjoyed it. And yeah, those were the 3. That was anime this weekend for me. That's the most I've watched in months. It's really slow for me recently. Ooh, map change. Anything good? I'm pretty sure there's a map out there I have yet to play. Oh god. Both maps from Splatoon 1. Ugh. Ugh. And anything else I did on my vacation? Pool. I'm on some money on pool. Ooh, 1998. But pool. The other thing, oh my god, music. I guess I'll this is a video game podcasty thing. But yeah, let's talk about music for a minute. Well, actually, let's start off. Let's start off with this one. So there's this thing. So I found this. There's this game called Nefarious. I'd never heard of it until this weekend. And I haven't seen anything about the actual game, just like the Kickstarter and the graphic novel. And you know what? I think I actually may pick up that game. Again, I haven't picked up a game. It may not be for a while because, yeah. But honestly, the actual graphic novel and whatnot, pretty good. Or at least I like the ideas. I'm really curious to see where it's going to go, of course. God, I missed. Sometimes I should just use a standard attack when I'm using a jump. Ugh. But that's where it started, and it has some music. Some of it's okay, but there was one that just got stuck in my head. It was like a music video, or it was an animatic for a song I Can't Decide. And I was like, I've heard this before, but I don't know where. So I looked it up, and there's an animation for something called the Adventure Zone. I know nothing about the Adventure Zone. I'm pretty sure it's a D&D style podcast. At least that's what I get from it. Made by the guys who did Me, My Brother, and Mine, or something about my brother. Me and My Brother, or something like that. Is it Me, My Brother, and My Other Brother? It's a podcasty thing. And it's gotta be a D&D podcast. I like D&D podcasts. Crit Juice comes to mind. Crit Juice is... I need to get caught up. I do. But it's really enjoyable. But I'd seen this animation a long time ago, I guess. And God, I kept listening to that song over and over again. It's so good. It just got stuck in my head and I couldn't get it out, so I probably listened to that for a few hours. And then there was some other animatics for the Nefarious. One was a song from the musical Dear Evan Hansen. I had heard of it before, but I haven't seen it. I haven't listened to the full soundtrack. I've listened to some of the songs. Yeah. And this song also just got stuck in my head. Also, really good. And yeah, and there was one other song that got stuck in my head as well. That was a lot of it was just like me listening to music while playing Stardew Valley. Really, the other one was there's a guy on YouTube, Provis Gaming, who I had watched a long time ago because I really liked the game Plague Inc. And I had watched his stuff. Wow, that was close. And and for some reason I thought of Plague Inc. again and Pandemic. Pandemic 2 was where it all started for me. Loved that game. Used to play it at school with friends. Madagascar. But I started watching him again, and he's still really entertaining. It's probably been a few years since I watched him. But he's still, he's one of the few that, as I get older, I find the less and less YouTubers I actually enjoy. He's an exception to that rule. He still holds up after all of this time. That surprised me. I was not expecting that, but yeah, no, I don't. Oh God, I watched a lot of binging with Babish. God, food. I cooked on Sunday. Ugh, God, disaster. I should just stick to pastries, which I'm not even great at. Oh God, 2 Dynamo. After this round, I'm switching off Dynamo. Anything? Did I do anything else? I didn't watch any. I went Cyan Man again. I went and I watched Shawshank Redemption. There was one other movie I saw as well. Crap, I don't remember. It was. I'd seen it before, but I still really liked it. Holy crap, that timing. There was one other movie. I sat through the entire thing. It was really good as well. Wasn't Hacksaw Ridge? I watched that as well. I don't remember. Yeah, and then yeah, I didn't really do anything else. But hey, that's vacation sometimes. Sometimes it's nice to just get away. But now back at it again with YouTube and then college and freaking Undertale ruined that word. Ruined the word college for me. I'm just gonna admit it. You know what I was actually thinking? I thought about this probably a few weeks ago. I don't know why it's coming back to me. But the, oh, God damn it. I was hoping I could crush her. I realized, I know a lot of people are complaining about Switch ports, and, oh, the Switch doesn't have that many good games this year. They're kind of right, but, I don't know. I know it's more of an issue for others. Like, even though I have not admittedly played my Switch that much this year, I've still been playing a lot of games. Like, just because I'm not playing my Switch doesn't mean I'm not playing video games. But, I realized the Switch, as of, really, right, I mean, as of later on this year, will have all of my Game of the Year games since 2014? Maybe it was 2015? Shovel Knight, Undertale, I don't remember my Game of the Year for 2016. I honestly just don't remember it. But I know the Switch has it. And then, Breath of the Wild. That's four however many years of Game of the Year games. It was 2014. That the Switch has all of them. I know for some people that could be seen as a red flag, that, oh, it just keeps repeating games from prior years. But I think that's a good thing, that it has so many games I genuinely enjoy. And I don't think I'll be picking up Undertale on Switch. I did a playthrough on PC in 2017? If Undertale came out in did it come out in 20... No, I did it in 2016 because it came out in 2015. I think. God, was Undertale really 2015? Holy shit. I'll be right back. Okay, let's change weapons real quick. I guess I could go back to the Neo Splashomatic. Yeah. Because I don't want to use a Brella or even a Tentabrella. I could use dualies. Is this actually my most... Yeah, this is my most inked weapon. Wow. I mean, it makes sense. I use it always almost for turf wars, and this is pretty close. Well, within reasonable size, because I think my third used weapon is this. I literally only use these 3 weapons. Yeah. Yeah, let's go back to this. Okay. And I'm gonna actually get King Ring tonight. I mean, I'm halfway there. I might as well. Knock on wood. I need a drink. So, as always, we have to talk about Smash Bros. And for this topic, let's talk about Amiibo. Smash Bros. Amiibo. This is... So, at E3, they announced that Ridley and the Inklings were getting an Amiibo. Okay, we all knew that was happening. We also know Daisy's getting an Amiibo, even though they haven't shown it yet. The other thing, though, was how are they going to do the rest? How are they going to do, like, the returning characters, like Wolf, Snake, Pichu, and how are they going to do the... Right, and are they going to do new characters for all the new characters? Are they going to do an entirely new set? Are they insane? I mean, they are, but that's besides the point. And we found out how that's going to happen. So first off, they revealed Wolf, and this is all up for pre-order right now. We're in a post-Wave 6 Amiibo world. Well, I think actually the better comparison is post-Animal Crossing. So finding Amiibos nowadays isn't that hard. So don't stress about it. I haven't. But what they're going to be doing is these new Amiibo are coming out, and of course they've gone up in price. This is so disappointing. I know, no, back in the Wave 1 of Amiibo, you had stupid shit like Murph and Petch, right? Really just ugly Amiibo. But as time went on, the quality got better. And the price stayed the same. But ever since Breath of the Wild boosted the price up just a few bucks, now all the Amiibo are going up in price. I know Amiibo is dying. I know that. All Toys to Life are. And yeah, it's completely earned at this point. Don't think for Toys to Life. And it's funny that Amiibos are still alive, even though out of all the Toys to Life, they were by far the worst ones. With Skylanders being the best. I actually played Skylanders back in the day. Those videos still exist somewhere. But Amiibo is by far the worst. And so Ridley, Inkling, and Wolf, and presumably all the other new ones, are now 16 bucks. Or is it 16 or 17? It may be even 17 bucks. Instead of the previous 13. This is the death of Amiibo. I guarantee you, after the Smash Bros. Line, Amiibos are dead. Like, there's no way they're going to recover from it. No, this is the end of Amiibo. Which I say all the better. I'm sick of these fucking things, but, you know, I actually don't have a complete Smash collection. I've said this before. I'm missing 1 or 2. But as part of this, they're also they're doing what I thought they would do. And instead of making new models for all the old Amiibo and, right, spending money, developing new poses, and actually, like, designing new figures and all that shit, they're presumably going to be re-releasing every Amiibo with better stock this time. So that way, for anyone who has a collection or wants to start collecting, theoretically, you'll be able to get them all. And you know, I have no complaints. Because I know I'm missing Wii Fit Trainer. I think that may be the only one I'm missing. But if they're re-released, I could buy one on eBay, but if they're re-releasing Wii Fit Trainer, I might as well buy it, because it's going to be the same. I know it's not... Oh my god, look at that point. Oh god, I hate when that happens. If I hadn't died there at the end and ran out of ink. But yeah, I may... And yeah, I know some people, oh, you want Wave 1 or whatever, the original print. I know a lot of people complain about Wave 2, the second print of Villager. I don't care. I'm an OOB collector. I don't care. But, yeah, no, I think that's a good way to handle it. Is just reprinting all the old figures, allowing people to have complete collections. Yes. And then after that, Amiibo are dead. I think we're all fine with that. I mean, they're still going to make more. And then, of course, so we're definitely going to get Pichu, and then we're going to get all the new characters. Waluigi, when he eventually gets... I know people have been passing around the joke of Sakurai, oh, never ask me for anything ever again because of Ridley. And people just threw a bitch fit over Waluigi. I talked about this on Twitter. It's the stupidest fucking thing. No. Anyone who threw a bitch fit over Waluigi is an asshole. It's not that big of a deal. But, well, and it's all definitely the Americans. But did you see the thing where it was Americans where in Japan they call Ridley Captain America because of how much the Americans wanted him, which I do kind of get that from Nintendo. I know Nintendo's a Japanese company, but they just do not give a shit about America, like 99% of the time. So seeing us get a character we've always wanted in the shape of Ridley is actually really cool to have. It's really cool that that's happening. I doubt it'll happen again, but that's cool. So yeah, that's gonna happen. But I think Waluigi may happen. I can... It's just crazy enough that I can see it. The other one is... I've talked about a bunch of new characters, and... Yeah, I'm still weirdly enough, my biggest hope right now is Marks. You know, Marks. Yeah, that... I don't know when that happened, but it did. Because I'm actually really happy with what we have, right? I mean, the fact that everyone's here is good enough for me. I've talked about this over and over again. Nothing new here. But what I'm... But yeah, I don't know the future of Amiibo. I don't know where that's going to go. I guarantee you it's not going to end well. Oh, and they also... So today, they announced the release date for the Octoling Amiibos. Which I also do want to buy. Because I'm a slut for Amiibo. God damn it, I hate you, Nintendo. I hate you so much. But the Octoling Amiibo are coming out December 7th. Same day as Smash Ultimate. In North America. In Japan and Europe, I'm pretty sure it's like November 8th. It's like a month earlier. But same day as Smash Ultimate. I went looking through it, and based on everything we know announced for Smash Ultimate, if I were to buy everything, alright, if I were to buy, I think it was all the, so it was 4, it's 3, 6 Amiibo, it's like 6, maybe even 7 Amiibo if Daisy gets one at launch. Let's just say 6 Amiibo. Yeah, 3 Smash, 3 Octo, 6 Amiibo. The game, Smash Ultimate. What else? There's other shit as well. A controller, like a GameCube controller, and one other thing. There was one other thing, or maybe that was it. God, it stacked up to almost $200. That's the money I could be using to buy a PS4, but nope. It's all going for Smash Bros. And, God, stupid fucking Amiibo. And I'm a slut for these things. I can't just give them up, even though... I always think of that post where it's like, hey, can someone who's an accountant tell me how to spend my money? And it's like $3,000 in scented candles. I know someone remade it for Amiibo at some point, but yeah. But, I'll quit it. And the sad part is, Amiibo are going to die. That's the only way Nintendo's going to end them, is if just the Amiibo die, which... They have such bad support. Like, they do nothing in the game. And yet, they outlasted Skylanders. They outlasted Disney Infinity. They outlasted Lego Dimensions. I didn't know a single person with Lego Dimensions. I knew some people with Disney Infinity, and then I know. Oh god, I just got stuff for Fortnite. Ugh. I know two. I know. And then I know, so I was a big fan of Skylanders. I owned the first, like, 4 games. But I guess, I only found this out this weekend. That, I guess, Skylanders Imaginators, the most recent one, the one on Switch, well, it came out on Switch launch day, had microtransactions. How disappointing. Like, really? I know Activision's greedy, but Skylanders is basically one giant-ass greedy mechanic. Fucking really, Activision? I know they're bad, but god, that's terrible. Ugh, god. Yeah, it had loot box. It may have even had loot boxes. I don't know. I know it had some sort of payment system. I'm glad I got out after the 4th game, because that was the last good one. Because the 3rd one wasn't really that great, but the fourth one was actually really good. And then yeah, I just stopped playing. I never bought the 5th one, and yeah, it got too expensive. What can I say? Ah, god damn it! Yeah, that makes sense for a Jilt Squelcher. Yeah, that's Amiibo. I hate them. I hate them so much. I don't know. I knew somebody who only collected Amiibo. They didn't even own a Wii U or 3DS. They owned a PS Vita, and they collected Amiibo. It's some of them, like the Fire Emblem ones, that's some of the only Fire Emblem merch that we'll ever get. That totally, it makes sense. What else? Oh god, they're dead. Yep. Anything else I gotta say? I just hope they die. I hope once the Smash line's out, once they've re-released every figure, people have their collections, they're properly stocked this time, they just stop making them. Because I don't know what, yeah, it's just, Amiibo never, and you know what would have been perfect for an Amiibo game? A JRPG. Like, there must have been a way you could have used Amiibo, like, kind of like, I know people are, I guess, sick of the Skylanders gimmick where you scan in a character, but I felt like that could have really worked. You scan in the Amiibo, oh yeah, we won that, and it lets you play as, like, a character in, like, an RPG, like a Smash Bros. RPG, basically. Every character plays differently, there's, like, 50 characters, and they're all, right, it's the Amiibo you have. That was always my way of doing it, but it's too late. These things have been out for, what, how many years has it been now? It's been, what, 3, maybe even 4? It's too late. They can't save them. They keep making them, I keep buying them, but it's like when I went and saw Jurassic World. Just because I'm spending money on it doesn't mean I want you to continue doing it. God, Jurassic World was a shit show. You know, I'm talking about Fallen Kingdoms. That's the one. The first Jurassic World was okay. I didn't hate it. It had the end fight scene is awesome, but the rest of the movie, it was okay. Fallen Kingdom, no. I felt like nothing happened. It was so boring. Just go see Ant-Man and the Wasp again. I've seen that movie way too many times. I've seen Ant-Man more than any other movie. Like, out of every Marvel movie, the original Ant-Man is probably the one I've seen the most, just because back when I had cable, it was on every day, and I'd turn it on, like, sometimes early on, and just leave it on as background noise. Sometimes it'd be, like, halfway through it, and I'd be like, ooh, I want to see that. I love the fact, I know a lot of people, like, bitch and moan that, oh, he's the cheapest Avenger, yada, 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 but when they got Falcon in that movie, I was like, oh, I actually really always liked the Falcon scene. So I'm like, okay, it's on for that. But by the time that scene comes up, we're like an hour into a 2-hour movie. We're already more than halfway through at that point. I don't even know if the movie's 2 hours. So I'm always like, I might as well finish it. And then I've seen the beginning a bunch of times. Michael Pena's hilarious. It's the one I've seen the most, and it's probably one of my favorites, realistically. Oh shit, I didn't know there was someone there. I do wanna... did I already say this? God, I'm losing my mind. I do want to see Infinity War again. I actually saw that one twice in theaters again, as well. I saw it once normally, once in IMAX. I do want to see it again, though, on DVD, which comes out in like 2 weeks, or maybe 3 weeks, August 14th. Hashtag not sponsored, but I love Marvel movies. I know some people are sick of them, and I totally understand. Totally. But, I'm not. I still like them. I know I did say earlier I want to see Justice League again. I don't know why, and I feel like it's stupid, because Justice League really does suck. But, it could have been good. Like, I've seen some good Justice League shit. Just watch the animated show. The animated show's amazing. But, where else was I going with that? Justice Marvel movies. Anything else? Anything else I gotta say? I thought I was totally about to slip into the water. Come on. I was like, come on, the clock's gotta turn now. Because where... Oh, God, where did all that come from? I think we have that, but... Yeah, no, we do. It's just, wow, that came out of nowheres. Anything else? Just, yeah, amiibo die. Wow, that crown looks weird with the hair. So, my last topic, and in theory my biggest topic, is the Classic Edition. So, around this time last year, the SNES Classic Edition was announced. It came out in September, later that year. I've been doing a Link to the Past on it. It's right over there. You can see it in the background. It's in a box. And if we're going to get an announcement of Classic Edition, I'm assuming it's going to be soon. Like, it could be this week, honestly. Well, next week. If we're getting one. And I kind of want to talk about it both ways. One, I honestly don't think we are getting one this year. My big reason is the reprint of the NES Classic and the SNES Classic. Because they stopped production of the NES Classic to start production of the SNES Classic. At least that's what they say. So what if they... So, by that logic, because they started up production of the NES Classic again... When are they going to go into production of the N64 Classic? Assuming that's what's happening. But also at the same time, is it going to be an N64 Classic? Or are they going to do a Game Boy Classic? Now, between the two, personally, I kind of want a Game Boy Classic. I said earlier on that I booted up my Game Boy to play Pokemon, or my Game Boy Advance, But I do think that if we should get a Game Boy Classic, it would be... Yeah, no, I'd totally be down for that. And I've talked about how they should do it, where I think it should be Game Boy, right, original Game Boy and Game Boy Color. And of course, they're gonna have... now, I actually thought, I've been thinking about this, because I do think it's going to be Game Boy. I really do. Game Boy's a big one, and they could do it for $60. Like, a lot of people are like, oh god, wouldn't that be too expensive? Because I don't think it's going to plug into the TV. I do think it's literally going to be a Game Boy that you can pick up and play, but it's going to have a backlit screen. And for anyone thinking that's going to be too expensive, let me remind you that... Ah, crap, I didn't know they were buzzing wrong. Let me remind you, a 2DS, just a normal standard 2DS, is $80. And that's with a cartridge slot, with 2 screens, one of them being a touch screen, right? They could easily get away with doing a Game Boy Classic for less than $80. They could easily get away with it being $60. They could put a shitload of games on it. It looked just like a Game Boy. I think that would be really cool. That's my hope. And I want to actually go down... I have a games list here. I'll pull it up in a minute once I'm not stressed out from the game. But this is how I think they're going to do it. Let me... So, Game Boy Classic. Ooh, let me see. Where is it? Here it is. So these are, I have like 27 games here. I think unlike the NES, so the NES Classic had 30. The SNES Classic had 21. I think Game Boy games take up about as much memory as an NES. And as we know, the NES Classic can fit way more games than they actually have. So I'm expecting the same thing to happen here. We're going to get more, it's going to have more space and people are going to mod it to put more games on. But my first one is Tetris. Tetris was the big hit of the Game Boy. We all know that. They have to put Tetris on here. It's going to happen. Right? That's the easiest pick in this entire thing. Next, we have Super Mario Land. I know there's a lot of device on whether or not this game is good. I had it. I can't actually find my copy of it. I had it. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I ever beat it. It's weird. You know, honestly, if any game were to get I know we talk a lot about remakes and whatnot, and I know we've been remaking a lot of games from the past, like, 10 years. Nintendo needs to do, like, a remake Game Boy collection. Remake The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Remake Super Mario Land 1 and 2. Right? There's a lot of good games that they can remake that they just need to. A lot from the Game Boy era. And, I mean... Yeah, you'd make some changes, but I think this game's just quirky enough that it could work. Next up, Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. If you're going to have the first one, you have to have the second one. It's odd. The second one is, unlike the first one, which is pretty divisive, the second one is, I'm pretty sure, universally loved. People like it. It's more your traditional Mario game. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. What does it say? Warrior. Wario Land, Super Mario World 3. I know that's 3 Mario games right there, and that may have been Game Boy Color, I don't exactly remember. But, you know, they're all 3 big Wario games. I can see them not doing Super Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, but they have to have the first 2. Easy choices right there. Next up, we have Link's Awakening. And I picked DX just because well, I know there are about 100 games exclusive to Game Boy Color. I don't think you'd want to make a Game Boy Classic Edition and a Game Boy... Right, a Game Boy Color Classic and just a Game Boy Classic. I feel like they'd be too similar. So I feel like if you just did both, that'd be fine. That'd make everyone happy. I feel like it's the easiest way to do that. So, between the two, you definitely want Link's Awakening DX. It's the easiest choice. I mean, you could do I know these classic editions get more and more advanced, so you could, in theory, have a button, which, okay, this is another hope for the hardware. I know some games on Game Boy and Game Boy Color, right? Some games on Game Boy had color variants in the Super Game Boy player, or you could like change the color, right? Like, I know if you play some classic Game Boy games on Game Boy Advanced, you can like change it to a bunch of different colors instead of the black and green or black and gray, right? You could just make it more color. There's like a bunch of different weird color options. I feel like that should totally be a thing here. Make that as part of the options menu. People would eat that up, right? It's totally something they should do. Next up, we have Metroid 2 Return to Samus. I know they remade it. I know AM2R controversy. It's actually, that Metroid 2 is actually special to me because it was the first Metroid game I played. It's really, I'm not the biggest fan of Metroid, even though I totally wanted Ridley in Smash. I do defend Metroid 2. I do enjoy it, even though I haven't played it in years. Metroid 2 is actually interesting because it's the last game I consider myself good at. Like, after I beat it, I feel like all of my gaming skill just went downhill from there. It's the, you know, like, usually, like, when you're a kid, you're usually, at least, I know this rings true for, not everyone, but for a good chunk of people, that when you're young, you're better at games, and when you get older, you stop being as good. That's Metroid 2 kind of signifies the last point when I was good as a kid. And yeah, there are some things as an adult I'm better at, but you know what I mean. Next up, this is probably the biggest one. You need to have, Pokemon is such a defining point of both the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. More importantly, the Game Boy Color, really. You need to have a Pokemon game on there. And I think how they're going to do it, this is just my guess, is they're going to make different versions of this Game Boy Classic Edition. Some people are probably not down for that at all, and I understand. But I think this is the best way to do it. I mean, and you could mod in all the Pokemon games afterwards, because this thing's going to be moddable. But what they do is they'd have a red, blue, and yellow version. And depending on which one you pick, it'd come with red, blue, or yellow, and it'd also come with gold, silver, and crystal. And if they have wireless features, much like they did for the Virtual Console ports, you could be able to trade with your friends, right? They could totally, I mean, if they're using just a 2DS's hardware, they could totally add in a wireless port. It wouldn't be that hard. It really wouldn't. But yeah, that's at least that's how I think. That's my best idea of how they are going to do it. It makes the most sense in my mind. I mean, or they could be jerks and not put a Pokemon game in there at all. That's not the smart. It's kind of like doing the N64 Classic without a Banjo game. They really, if they're going to do it, they need to get Microsoft on their side. I know Microsoft, they've said they're willing to work with Nintendo, and I mean, they've clearly shown it. I mean, look at all the shade Nintendo and Microsoft has thrown at PlayStation recently. It's probably mostly Microsoft's doing, and Nintendo's just like, okay, whatever. But still, Nintendo and Microsoft can make it happen. Also, put the Rare Replay on Switch while you're at it, would you, please? That would be really cool as well. And I've talked about this before, right? You put the Rare Replay on Switch, and as part of the Switch version, you add in the Donkey Kong Country games. And even though this would be very unusual for Nintendo, I think it could seriously work. And as part of the Xbox edition gets an update that adds in the Donkey Kong Country games. It's not traditional for Nintendo, but I feel like that would be an interesting deal, and while you're at it, you might as well put Banjo and Smash Bros. I mean, come on, Nintendo. Come on, Reggie. Nintendo's too much of a traditionalist to do it. Even though they're allowing cross-platform play, they're still too much of a traditionalist. I hate to admit it, but it's true. I would never. But no, if they're going to do an N64 Classic Edition, they need Banjo. They need Banjo, they need Diddy Kong Racing, they need all those other racing games. Let's see, next up, Kirby's Dream Land. I know they basically Kirby's Dream Land made it into Kirby's Superstar, but you might as well have it there. And you might as well have Kirby's Dream Land 2. Even though the SNES Classic didn't have Dreamland 3, you might as well have Dreamland 2 in the Game Boy. It just makes sense. You might as well put them both. I have Pokemon Pinball. I actually have 3 pinball games here. They're gonna do one of them. So my first one is Pokemon Pinball, which I think was Game Boy Color. That'd be fun, right? It's a I recently started playing Pokemon Pinball for Game Boy Advance, Ruby and Sapphire. Still really fun. Pokemon Pinball is still really enjoyable. Kirby Pinball. I feel like people don't talk about this game that much, and it's not that... It's Game Boy Pinball, so it's not that great. But I still think it's fun. No harm, no foul, you know? And then lastly, I have Revenge of the Gator. This is... I don't know how many people know about this, but this is a pinball game made by Hatto, right? The people who did Kirby. I think this was... I think they had already created Kirby at this point, before Kirby Pinball. And, you know, it's not a... I haven't played it, but I've heard... I mean, for a Game Boy Pinball, I've heard it's not that bad, and it is the logical step. And I can see them doing... I doubt they're going to do all 3, but they definitely need at least one pinball game on there. And I'd be most interested in Revenge of the Gator, just because it's so out of place, but they could do any of them. I don't care. Kid Icarus of Myth and Monsters. I don't know if this is any good. I've not played Kid Icarus in so long. I've never beaten Kid Icarus. But I know this is there are only 3 Kid Icarus games. And this is one of them. And you know, even if it's not that good, I mean, the NES Classic had games that weren't good on it. You might as well just put it in there. Sure, why not? Final Fantasy Adventure, never played it, but everyone seems to talk about it. Sure. Sure. I know nothing about it. I don't know. I know nothing about a lot of Final Fantasy games. I really, there are like, I know Final Fantasy 6. I know 5 actually. 7, 10, and 13, 14, and 15. I know nothing about 8, 9, 11, or 12. I think, was 11 an RPG? Like an online RPG? It may have been. Which one had the Gunblade? One of them. But yeah, I know nothing about Final Fantasy. So I'm just assuming, when I was looking at a list of Game Boy games, everyone seems to be talking Final Fantasy Adventure, so sure. Mario Picross. This game didn't actually do well. From what I've been told, this game didn't do well in the US. But you might as well put it on there anyways. And I know either way it's going to make it onto the Japan version, because, yeah, Japan. Japan loves them Picross, but you might as well put it. I mean, it was a costume in Odyssey. There's a lot of costumes in Odyssey. I have not... You know, I'm still disappointed that game never got a big DLC. Like, I think... I mean, they could announce something at a Nintendo Direct, but it would have made sense for them to do it at E3, and that just didn't happen. So, I doubt we're gonna... Like, I know people wanted a Luigi's Mansion DLC, or, a Wario DLC, even. Both of them would have been fun. I would have enjoyed both, but I doubt we're gonna get either. Let's see, next up... Kirby Block Ball. This is, it's not Arkanoid, it's one of those games where you got the paddle at the bottom and you shoot up to break the blocks. It's a Kirby-themed puzzle game, and a lot of Kirby has a lot of side games, and I can see a lot of them taking up the Game Boy Color. But I think Block Ball, I hear it's fun, sure. You might as well. God, whoever's using this poison mist is a pain in the ass. The next one, so I talked about Pokemon, right, and how they could put in wireless transmission, right, wireless communication, because I can see them doing that. I mean, again, it's 2DS architecture, it's cheaper. As part of that, what if they put a gyroscope in it, and then they add Kirby Tilt and Tumble? Kirby Tilt, I think it may be on 3DS emulation. But Kirby Tilt and Tumble would be a cool one, right? I'd be down for Kirby Tilt and Tumble. And yeah, all it requires is putting in the 3DS's gyroscope. That's depending on the hardware, but it's not gonna. People are thinking this is gonna be way more expensive than it actually is. Like, even back in the day, I was looking at I was watching, who was it? Scott the Woz. This must have been months. This must have been like a month ago. And he has a video on Black Friday, and in it he was talking about how, oh look, he was showing off some old Black Friday ads. Game Boy Advanced SPs were actually really cheap, even back in the day. So they could totally get away with doing a Game Boy Classic for cheap. Let's see, Kirby Star Stacker. I'm assuming it's a puzzle game like Tetris. I don't remember, I have it written on here, so yeah, I know that's 3 Kirby puzzle games, but they're probably all good puzzle games. Sure. Dr. Mario. I don't remember. The first Dr. Mario I remember was it SNES or was it even the original NES? Maybe it was the original NES was the first time. I don't remember Dr. Mario on Game Boy, but I guess it happened. And I know that's another puzzle game, but hey, the Game Boy had a lot of puzzle games. What can I say? The next up, also talking about hardware, here's another hardware gimmick. 3DS has a camera. What if you did Game Boy camera? I know Game Boy camera is weird and it doesn't hold up to modern day stuff and it's really got nothing special to it, but I think that would be really fun. People would it's a little thing, but I think people would really enjoy it. It could just be like, you know how on a smartphone you have the camera, I think this is iPhone, in like the top right corner, or maybe it's left corner. Top left corner if you're facing the back. That would just put a small camera up there and make it work with Game Boy camera. I feel like people would actually really like that. I don't know the actual logistics of getting it working, but yeah. Next up, Power Quest. I'm assuming it's an RPG. I know nothing about it. Again, just list, that's... Some of these are from the History of Nintendo video. I'll totally admit that. I mean, if they made it into that, they must be somewhat important. I'm off topic from the main point. I actually really like that we keep seeing the Shifty Station a lot. This is actually... Yeah, you know, I actually really like the gimmick of this Shifty Station. I hope after this... I keep saying... I want all of these Shifty Stations to be permanent. I don't even know if they're playable in, like, bonus modes. Like if you do, like, Battle with Friends. I don't know if you can play Shifty Station. I doubt it. But I think that would be really cool. God, why can I not hit them? Let's see. So, Power Quest, I'm assuming it's an RPG, like kind of fantasy adventure. Gargoyles Quest, I'm assuming that's in the same vein as, oh god, what's it called? It's a game I don't actually like. Super Ghosts and Goblins, or just Ghosts and Goblins. Not a game I'm a big fan of, but I'm assuming it's the same series anyways. But yeah, you know, you might as well add it again. Oracle of Legend of Zelda, like I said, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a Game Boy Color. You might as well add Oracle of Ages and Seasons on there. It's a good... And again, this is one, I think, because if Oracle and Ages were like a Pokemon game where there weren't much different, I'd say, oh, just do one, like the red one would have Ages, the blue one would have Seasons, or whatever color vice versa it is. But I think because they are vastly different games, I think they need both. And again, this thing's gonna theoretically have a lot of space, and Game Boys don't take up that much space. They could easily get away with it. Oracle of Ages. Mega Man. So, Mega Man, they have to have a Mega Man game. And And there are 5 Mega Man games on Game Boy. Much like the NES Classic, I think they're only going to do 1? But which one of 7? If I was a betting man, it's probably going to be 1 or 2. Because, you know, Mega Man 1 or 2. Even though I don't want to. Mega Man 2 on Game Boy sucked. It was not a good port. The other 4, though, are perfect. 1, 3, and 4 are really good. They're all designed around the Game Boy's smaller screen. That could totally work. But the one I want is Mega Man 5. Mega Man 5 on Game Boy. Anyone who's a fan of Bullrog the Master knows. Or Bullrog's Game Room. Bullrog's Game Room Adventure, whatever it's called nowadays. Knows Mega Man 5. It's a Mega Man game made wholly original. All the villains are based around the planets. And yeah, it was original. I feel like out of all the Mega Man games, that's the best one. And then the last thing I have on here is Harvest Moon. The original Harvest Moon 2, I don't remember which one was on Game Boy. I think that would also be great. And yeah, that's give or take 26. I mean, yeah, there's 3 pinball games, a bunch of puzzle games in there. But I think that's not a bad selection. And yeah, that's my final story. That's Splat and Chat. Almost 3 hours. I think that's one of the longest. And yeah, I dilly-dallied here and there. What you gonna do? So yeah, let's look at some fan art. We'll find out tomorrow. I think this is only the 2nd time on stream I've maxed it out. I maxed it out off stream once or twice. I like that. Yeah, I'll force that. We'll still be the best of friends. Oh my gosh, someone, you know that scene in Civil War where it's like, we're still friends after this, right? And it's like, well, it depends on how hard you hit me. Someone should make that. I would, but I do not have the artistic talent to do that. Oh my god, that would be so funny. These must have been the people I was playing with recently. It says something, but I don't know what. I don't want to join your Squid Discord server. Please stop. I've always wondered with those Discord servers, are they all just promoting the same server, or do they each have different ones? Looks like you ready. Hey, bonus LTC Snail. I'm gonna break 100. Wow. Love Not War. I'm actually glad there's a lot of Love Not War posts, because this is totally... I mean, Squid versus Octoling, that's totally a race war. I loved the announcement for this thing, because it was, aren't you worried this is going to cause a race war? And it's like, nah, you mean all those people with the weird haircuts, right? Instead of calling them Octolings, they're just people with weird haircuts. Octo go to war. Well armed. Boo! Boo! How do I delete somebody else's post? Nah, actually, the art is good, so I'm not gonna complain. But, Round Boys. What? You know what this reminds me of? Freaking Habbo Hotel. You know, the pool, the health and safety formation, oh god, what is it called? I know the pool has AIDS, but I don't remember all the details. Oh god, it's been a while since I've heard Habbo Hotel. But yeah, official. Yeah, I did like in the announcement how it's like, oh yeah, all the people with weird hairstyles and not acknowledging that Marina's an Inkling. I hope if they ever do Splatoon 3, which it's gonna happen one day. Splatoon's huge in Japan, it's big in America. It's Splatoon 3. No more Octolings aren't the villain. They work alongside the Inklings. And we get a new villain. My idea? Crab people. I mean, we got squids, octopuses, and salmon. Crab people. I can't take it seriously, but play up the comedic side. Make it less about war and species living underground, right? Trying to survive off of not seeing the sunlight. And make it about crab people. And no more stupid Zapfish. Do something else. Do like the Octo expansion. Do something more interesting. God, except for, don't do that stupid the secret final boss fight. God, I hated that. I got this, where is it? I got the stupid golden toothpick to prove it. Not worth it. Oh my god, I hate it so much. These glasses are just so cool. But yeah, that's Splat Chat number 5. We'll be back. I'll be back in probably a month. Hopefully. After this, we go back to Link to the Past. My goal is, before the next Splat Chat, to have beaten Link to the Past. I think I only have 3 dungeons left. That's not bad at all. I think I may have 4. And then yeah, we'll go from there. We will. But I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.